It has been a whole year that I've been using my simulator racing setup here. It includes a next level V2 Extreme cockpit, I believe they call it. Thrustmaster TX, which the focus of this video is on today, and also Fanatec V3 pedals. So if you're interested in these other two pieces of equipment here that I've been using for a year now, I'm going to do an insight or review onto each of those. So you can always subscribe to see them coming up in the next week or so. But today is the Thrustmaster TX. I want to go into my reviews thinking about, well, these particular ones anyway, when it comes to hardware, 4 different categories. I feel like I had to think about what would I want to hear if I was looking to see if I want to purchase something. I want to see someone else's user experience. I've used it for a full year. I think I can comfortably enough answer these 4 categories, including the price, the value of what you're paying for. Okay, you want to get some good value out of it. We have the feel, or what it's like to actually use. We have the durability, if it lasted a year, first of all, that would be a good thing. And then finally, the versatility. So when it comes to sim racing gear, for instance, how many different wheels will the pedals work with? You don't want to be locked to a certain, ecosystem, because that wouldn't be as good as a model exactly the same that works with many more different systems and wheels and rigs and has these better mounting points, for example. So that's what I mean by versatility. And also I'll cover any issues as well as final thoughts. So with that said, we'll jump into the first category, starting with versatility, and we'll work our way up. And in order to kind of give the information the best way that I can, that I think everyone, no matter if you're an audible learner or you like visual things better, I'm going to try and do it in this way. I'm going to give a number between 0 and 10. Okay, so there's your visual representation, a straight number of what I would give it out of 10. Then I'm going to follow with some audible info telling you why I gave it that number. So with the Thrustmaster TX, we have a couple really nice features when we're talking about the versatility or how many different ways we can use it. The wheel has a bit of quite a quick adapter. I think it's actually called a quick adapter. You get a Phillips head screwdriver. There's one specific little bolt underneath here that you undo, and that is actually just to tighten and loosen its holster. With that little bolt undone, you can slide the wheel off and apply any other Thrustmaster one because it has its own little quick release system here. So it's really basic, clamps on quite well. You actually got to spin first of all, spin it on and then do it up. Really basic. I might give you a quick video as I talk about it of how you go about it, but really easy to do. It's not completely universal with every other wheel on the market, although it's such a simple system that you can buy adapters very easily. So I believe if you have a Fanatec base, you can get a 2 Thrustmaster adapter, chuck it on any wheel that you wish. So in that sense, super basic system. It's actually rated quite high. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 on the versatility scale, simply because, one, the wheel's pretty easy to change out. It's not a complete universal adapter, but it's easy enough to find one for. And also it has just almost phone cords into the back, which is very universal. Handbrakes for sim racing systems have this type of connection. We have the Fanatec V3s, and the upgrade for me was really easy because one of the downsides with this particular wheel, how it comes out of the box, is really cheap pedals. Just 2 pedals, super light, really easy to press too hard, and when you're trying to do some pretty flat out racing, chances are you're going to be locking wheels into corners just because the quality is not there. The feel, the feedback isn't there. So I upgraded to Fanatec V3 pedals. I've got the 1 cord. I plug it into the back. So Fanatec actually comes with the 2 cords. You can either use one that works with Thrustmaster, etc., or one that works with I don't even know what the other one's for, but Thrustmaster, just like Fanatec, has really universal ports for any different accessories to go with the wheel, such as pedals, handbrakes, shifters. So, does it work well with a lot of different things? Yes, it does. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm not sure if there's anything better out there that works as easily as this wheel. Then we go on to durability. First of all, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This thing has been nice and sturdy, no overheating issues, but that's the reason why I'm not going to give it any higher than an 8 out of 10, because I believe the earlier models, from what I've heard, had some overheating issues, or you could hear the fan whirling a little bit. Now, I've never had that. I've never had any troubles with this. The only thing is, if my Windows 10 is put on sleep for 2 days, it just loses its mind. It's almost like exactly on 2 days, it'll just act weird. The wheel won't calibrate properly, but it's more the Windows 10. The whole thing just goes upside down. So, other than that, I've had this thing plugged in. As you can see, the red light is on down here. And sometimes I get in the habit of just undoing the little connection cord just to turn the power off, save a bit of power, save some lifespan of it. But either way, I've had it just sitting there plugged in. I've had it unplugged, plugged it in halfway through, played a game, whatever it may be. Seems to be pretty durable. I've had no troubles, but watch out for the earlier models. If you can, I don't think there's many of them around anymore because they would have already burnt themselves out. It's not cooling properly. But this has been pretty good. And the computer fans are louder than it when it's running. So, durability, 8 out of 10. Now we go into the feel. Now the feel is going to come with the better quality that you have wheelbase, if that makes sense. Between a 6 and a 7 out of 10. Now that's kind of just across the board, not gonna, kind of compare it with the price, simply because that's its own category. I'm gonna probably lean towards the 6 out of 10. Now keep in mind, I don't own a direct drive wheel. It will be an upgrade before the end of the year, so be looking forward to those videos when I finally get the direct drive and set up the ultimate simulator. That's the next step. And really, I've used a couple of the high-end belt-driven wheels at like expos and stuff. Couldn't really tell a whole lot of difference. Again, it depends much on what game it is and the settings that you've set up. But the feel, when I plugged this in, I jumped straight into a NASCAR race on iRacing once, and I was driving around the track, and it kind of blew my mind, as any new kind of sensation does when it comes to sim racing, because I'd come into the corner and I could feel the bumps. And I'm like, wow, there's actually texture bumps in a NASCAR track. Like, you'd think in most cases, I'm talking like Daytona and big tracks like this as well, I believe it was Daytona, you'd think the track would be perfectly smooth the whole way around, but no, it's like rough in some areas, and the better the wheel, the more of that you'll feel as you drive around. Now, direct drive or the more expensive wheels are going to increase or enhance how good the feedback is, but for what you get, this 6 out of 10, it's pretty good. It ranks a little bit higher than G920 because it doesn't use a gear system at all. Belt system is where I recommend people really look for, and then you've got direct drive above that. So 6 out of 10 on that one. We paid more, got into the higher ranks of the belt driven, maybe a Club Sport wheel 2.5 or whatever they call it, the highest Fanatec level. That's going to be getting to the 8s. Then you've got the direct drives, which will take the 9 and 10 out of 10 sections. So I think 6 out of 10, and considering, this is one of the most budget wheels on the market, lean towards 7 out of 10, but trying not to incorporate the price of it at all, or the value, because that's the next subject we're getting into. The price of the wheel. What is it rated out of? So if it was 10 out of 10, that means this would probably be $50 and will give you an awesome drive for a super small amount of money. But if it was rated super low, well then it's way overpriced to what you get. So I'm actually going to give it a 7 out of 10 on the price scale. Now this is an interesting one because this year all the prices rose across the board for sim racing products. Everyone staying at home really gave it a big boost, which is great for the sim racing community, but all the manufacturers that I know of, when it comes to sim racing components or wheels, cockpits, whatever it will be, really suffered. They just could not supply for the massive amount of demand that rose with everyone being stuck at home. So when I bought this wheel 1 year ago, and like a couple of my friends that also got into sim racing around the same time, or took the proper jump into it, I picked this wheel up for 330 Australian dollars, and it comes with the Alcantara Ferrari wheel here. This is not the base wheel that comes with it. Now the prices are higher. You could nearly double that if people are really trying to get the most, money that they can for it. I wouldn't pay double. I wouldn't pay $600 for the setup, but you get the idea. The thing is though, this is across the board, so everything's kind of rose, which is unfortunate. It will come down in the future. I wouldn't be waiting too long because you're going to find good deals now that everyone's, lost the hype it's not the cool thing anymore, and many people are back to work. But like I said, sim racing as a whole is much more popular now. And it's going to take a long time for the supply to rise again and all the prices to come down. I think this is almost like their new foreseen value. So don't sit around waiting for 6 months, a year, because I don't think it's really going to be worth the time that you have to wait to see any massive decline in prices. Just look for decent deals on second-hand marketplaces, like I always promote within my videos. But 7 out of 10 for the Thrustmaster TX, because it is one of the best budget wheels you can get. It comes in with the belt mechanism, okay, which is going to supply a pretty good amount of feedback to your hands. Not as good as the wheels that come in way more expensive than it, but we're talking about the value you get here. So it is one of the best wheels that I think you can get when you're looking at the broad whole market when it comes to sim racing. And this is why I believe that. I think if you're going to go about sim racing in the best, most efficient way possible, you're coming in from nothing, I always recommend to get a wheel like this. Okay, you're going to get slightly more feel than a G920, although you don't get the clutch and you don't get the handbrake, also the gear shifter. A lot of the time, the G920s will come with a complete little set, but they are locked to that set. So the value with this is that it is versatile. You can upgrade it with new pedals and a new nice Alcantara wheel in the future, which is awesome for the value of it. But it's nice and cheap. You get a little bit more feedback than the G920, and sometimes a little bit more pricey than the G920, but only by a little bit. And because of that, I always promote getting like this one first. I think personally, I'm not trying to be biased, but I think I did a pretty good move by getting this kind of wheel, and then you go straight to direct drive when or if 6 months or a year down the track, because that way he's nice and competitive still as you learn the ropes and get better and better. And then if you've been playing for that long, you know you're a die-hard sim racing fan, and it's worth the big investment of a couple $1,000s into your setup, because you know you're going to get the use out of it and you're ready for the big leagues to really be competitive. Direct drive wheel doesn't make you more competitive or a real high quality wheel, but you get more feedback, so you probably stack a little bit less, because if something goes wrong, you'll get that little bit more information to counter it, and the experience is much more immersive. So I think that's the best way to go about it. Start with a budget wheel like this, use it for 6 months or a year. When you know you're a die-hard sim fan, then you go bang, straight to high end. I don't recommend playing around in the middle ground too much, but if you do find a good deal on such as the, what have we got? The Club Sport wheels 2.5s. There is a nice kit, Fanatec Cell complete kit. It's got a good brand new value, or for instance things like that. Then by all means go for it. But a nice way to go about it is the way that I tend to actually be following. Now, if I had any issues with this wheel, other than my windows being a bit weird if I kind of sleep the computer for 2 days or so with heaps of tabs open or whatever. Sometimes it doesn't calibrate properly, but it's actually not on the wheel, I believe. It's on me leaving it plugged in all the time and not restarting my computer properly or shutting it down at night. But otherwise, it's been super easy to calibrate. I've never had any driver issues. It's always just been plug in and play. It works with every game pretty great, so iRacing picks it up perfectly. Automobilista 2 was a bit clunky with its calibration issues. You can pre-select a lot of wheels that are already built into the game, but T300 or TX, which is just the Xbox or the PlayStation 4 variant, don't seem to have a category there. So it actually comes up under like a different Thrustmaster wheel and seems to work really great. So can't say any problems with that, but do keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier in the video, that these earlier models had like a really high sounding fan because I was struggling with heating issues, or sorry, cooling issues. But I've not heard of that for years. If you were going to buy one secondhand, maybe just get the guy to try it out for 10 minutes, crank the torque, the force feedback up and have a play for 10 minutes. If the fan goes super loud, well, you know, it might be one of the earlier ones, but it's all speculative. I've never come across that. I've just heard about it. I thought I may as well let you know in this if you're trying to get all the information you can about your next future purchase maybe. So with all that said, the summary I'm going to give for this wheel is actually really good. I can recommend it personally from my 1 year experience, and I don't think you'll be upset with buying this wheel at all. If anything, it'll make you nice and competitive with your racing games. You have a ball, you didn't spend too much money. You'll probably want to upgrade your pedals, but that's super easy to do. You just get a new set, plug in and play, so that's super handy. And then you can always just stay like that. Maybe get a nice wheel upgraded. This one comes with Alcantara, and it's been super, super cool to use ever since. And then maybe you can just upgrade to the high end. But either way, you're going to be in a very good place if you end up getting Thrustmaster TX or T300 for yourself. Hope this helped you in one way or another. If it did, I'd always appreciate a thumbs up on the video. And then you can always subscribe to see more sim racing and gaming content or car content. Who knows what you're going to get in the future. And I will see you guys next time.